There it is. This is my first exhibited artwork in 2022. This project was commissioned by the Asian Art and Culture Trust, and the exhibition is called Conversation with Elders. I met this wonderful lady 2 years ago during the pandemic, who introduced me to the shadow puppets from Indonesia, since she has some Indonesian cultural heritage. So I decided to ask her if she would be interested in having a conversation with me. Well, she was born in 1939, which is basically the year World War II started. We're talking about a time of war, and I'm assuming there was a lot of ads and posters and talk about. That's probably what people talked about the most. So as a kid, you probably see a lot of these things in the media. And one of the things that struck her when she was in Indonesia as a kid was essentially that the sky was yellow, and she thought that meant that it was going to be the end of the world, because it's like something tragic was going to happen. So that's something that stuck in my mind when we were having our conversation. And based on the conversation that we had, I created an artwork to be able to share some of that story, some of that culture through the painting. So I decided to start with a yellow background, basically to depict the yellow sky that she was talking about, and also because I love to paint clouds, so it was a good excuse to paint cloud. And after much deliberation, I and also some research, I decided to paint the shadow puppet. The shadow puppet are there to tell a history, and they're very nice and beautiful, but I like the fact that the name of the puppet was shadow puppet, so there's like a shadow, like the word shadow was very interesting to me. And as I was learning more about the relationship between the Dutch and the Indonesia, I actually didn't realize that they were colonized. There's a very violent history between the two, and one of the most striking one, when I was doing my own research to be able to understand more of the dynamics and what I was actually painting, is I heard about Rawajiri Massacre, which happened on December 9th, 1947, where 431 male farmers were killed. But the thing is that that part of the history was hidden and ignored for a very long time. So I wanted to bring that into my painting, because I feel like it was something that was in the shadow. In order to bring some light into this that was cast in the shadow, I decided to create tally marks for each of the 431 men that were killed during that massacre. So every 5 tally mark represents one of these people, to make sure that they're not forgotten, but they're still in the shadow, because they're not the main focus of the painting, but they're still visible enough for people to hopefully ask questions. And in front of that, I put the shadow puppet, which I thought was an interesting play on word, like this beautiful Indonesian heritage that actually usually go and tell stories, and is beautifully decorated and things like that, which is the focus, which is what a lot of us look at when we look at different countries. It's one of the things that would be represented. If you do some search on Indonesia, that's probably one of the things that you would see, and it's very beautiful to see. So for me, it was important to represent the culture through that, but to also include the things that are in the shadow, which is kind of the history between the two countries. And also in the back of that is the yellow sky that comes from Betty's personal story of what she experienced when she was actually there. So that was basically the concept behind my painting, and it's going to be exhibited at the TIFF. So this was initiated by the Asian Arts and Culture Trust. It is a federal non-for-profit organization that provides various opportunities to amplify underrepresented voices in their community, increase tolerance of differences, empathy, and eventually eliminate anti-Asian racism. I am super grateful that I was able to be one of the selected artists to participate in sharing the story of the Asian heritage, especially living in a country like Canada. A lot of the times, the heritage gets mixed. There's so many different cultures that gets together, and it's from so many different groups that it's not just a single line. It kind of merged, and it's important to understand, I feel it's important to understand the interconnection and the complication also between cultures, and find a way to come together in harmony as much as possible, but without bypassing the things that happened in the past to be able to help solve them. So I feel like I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity to learn a little bit more about that part of history that I had no idea existed, and did my best to share that with other people as well who probably don't know, but need to know if we are going to continue to come together and in a peaceful, respectful manners. So I hope you go and check out the exhibition, and if you do, let me know. Take a selfie with my artwork and send it to me. I always love to see these type of things, and I'll see you next time. Bye.